joining us on a Wednesday night. Wednesday is a weekday, but you will not be disappointed today because we have great content. Now, if you're watching us on a Wednesday, you're probably really interested to better yourself. Well, today's guest is a pure example of how you can better yourself in the road to success. Our guest is really young, but he's also managed to win quite a number of difficult tasks. And if you watch TV and if you're interested in climbing the mountain, you're going to figure out who he is very, very soon. So let's take a look.
My name is Trần Thế Trung. I am the champion of the 19th season of Way to Olympia Peak. I'm a very curious person who can spend a whole day reading on a specific topic that I see as interesting. Today, coming to IELTS Face-Off, I'm going to share some of my experiences from the contest, some of my tips for studying, and also my viewpoints on certain topics.
Just seen who our guest is, and I can't wait to get into conversations with him. And he's not very far away because I can see him right over there. Trung, come on out. Winner, welcome.
Good evening.
Thank you. Have a seat. It's great to have you here.
Yeah. It's my honor to speak with you too.
Yeah, well, it's my honor to speak with you too, you know. How does it feel winning the whole game this year?
Well, it wasn't very easy. Road to Olympia requires lots of knowledge in a great variety of subjects. So I must work very hard to achieve this. And I think now I'm at the end of the road. Why not celebrating a little bit?
Okay, so tell us a bit about how you managed to gain so much knowledge in a very short period of time. What do you do?
Well, actually, the preparation for Way to Olympia Peak is a long way to go for me. I first watched the show back in about 2008 or 9 or something. And I really liked the show back then. I even tried to answer some questions, even though I was just a primary school student. I must say that I read a lot. I don't like reading, but I read a lot. Like back then, my father bought me some history books. I still keep them as of now. And maybe the audiences have known by now that one of the pages in the history books that my dad bought for me back then helped me to gain 30 precious points from Baving in the grand finale. Mm-hmm.
And what was that question? Do you remember?
I still remember it as yesterday. It was the question asking the descendant of the Lý dynasty who fled because of Trần Thủ Độ massacre. Mm-hmm. And he fled to Korea. And then he ruled a whole generation of the Lý there. And he even led the army to fight the Mongols. And it's proved to us now that every Vietnamese in every corner in the world has the ability to fight back the Mongols. I didn't remember how long it was then from he to his descendants now, but they are coming back to Vietnam to invest in our country, and they also acknowledge themselves as Vietnamese people.
Mm. All right, that's wonderful. Now, you talked a bit about history. You know, what's your view on people's understanding of history and politics nowadays for Vietnam?
Nowadays, I think Vietnamese people are getting more and more interested in history and politics in particular. And I think it's a good thing when people can understand more about their country. The problem is there are many, many views in the whole wide world, and we can't see which one is right, which one is wrong, and then people just argue with each other all the time, and it may cause some chaos, even on the real life, because the war between ideologies, between political views, it has been raging on for ages.
You're probably a guy that studies well. Have you always been good at studying? And what do you say to the kids that are not yet studying well?
I wouldn't assume myself as studying well. I think I pay a little bit more attention than the kids in class, so that I can understand the problem better. And that's also what I would say to the audiences who aren't really studying, because You just need to pay a little bit more attention. Like in the class, when instead of sleeping or looking outside or talking with friends, you can do that later. You can always do that in the breaks, and you just pay a little bit more attention to see what's going on.
What have been some of the things that you find very difficult to understand then, apart from relationships?
I think it's quantum physics. It's still a mystery to scientists nowadays. Actually, I'm not that good at scientific research. I find it too difficult.
So let's talk a little bit about how you came to know English, right? Because you're very, very fluent. You know, you do a good job at speaking to us right now. I'm sure there's a lot of students that are looking up to you as like, oh, this guy, you know, he's not only good at knowledge, he can also speak really well. So how did you train yourself to be so fluent?
I don't really remember when I first studied English. I only remember there was a story of a boy who really wanted to learn Chinese. But his mom said, no, you have to study English. Like, it's important to know English nowadays. Like, people are getting more and more connected in the whole wide world. And the common language they use is English, not Chinese. And then the boy had to give up on learning Chinese.
You're in grade 12. So how do you study nowadays? What do you do? And how do you manage all of these things?
Well, about studying at school now, I just do all the things that regular students would do, like do homework and do a little bit reading. But I think I'll pay more attention to studying in the future because I still have to finish the national exam in order to get a good grade to be accepted in Australia. I think after this trip to Hanoi, I will have to get back into studying and focus.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's talk a bit about you, because a lot of people think, you know, somebody who is able to win the road to Olympia is probably somebody who's really smart. You know, I'll never be as smart as him. You know, I'll never be as well prepared as him. He's naturally smart. Are you a normal guy in your daily life?
Kind of.
Okay, how is that so?
Yeah, I still play video games. I still join many activities at school, such as clubs. I'm now an instrumentalist in the acoustic club at my school. In class, I too do shenanigans with my friends all the time.
Yeah, so I know you play instruments.
Yeah.
And you also take part in like Model United Nations, and then that's the picture of you. What are you doing here in this picture?
This is a picture of the basketball club.
So you know you're doing a lot of these things, right? But what do you consider the most fun? And do you ever fight with your family? Do you ever fight with your parents?
Well, a lot, I must say. I often fight with my family when there was a problem with, for example, they won't allow me to go to school on my own, on my bicycle. They just want to take me there. And I know because for the sake of my safety, they must do that. But sometimes I do want to break free from them. And also the so-called wars between like ideas and what is wrong, what is right. I don't control my speech. Like sometimes I say things that the social network can exploit from that, and then turn their back on me or something.
Mm-hmm. So what's
they can criticize me for what I say.
What's one thing that you say that can be criticized by others?
Well, definitely the thing about the political views, and I won't get really deep into that, but complicated situation of the society. And there are some people who also support me on my political view, but some also oppose me, and then they talk really bad things about me online.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. And what does your family say? Or what advice do they give you when there are people bad-mouthing you online?
They say that I must keep silence online. Like, online isn't the place you have to control yourself.
Tell us a little bit about what your impression is about with Vietnamese youngsters nowadays.
I think the youth generation of Vietnam nowadays, they are passionate, they are energetic, they're willing to do things that other ones dare to do. Like, they are willing to explore new things in the world, and they don't hesitate to express themselves. I think they just need a little bit more wisdom.
Well, you know, we're in luck today because we have a lot of people within your generation that's in the audience. And so I'd love to hear what are some of the questions they may have for you. So shall we open the floor to the audience?
Yes, I will open myself to any points of information. Are there any such points on the floor?
Wonderful. Audience, do you have any questions for our guest today?
So hello, I have a question for you. So I heard you said that you're preparing for the national exam, right? So I want to ask, what subject are you partaking in, and how well are you preparing for it?
Well, actually, I'm pretty busy with my project right now. As of now, I just built an Olympia club in my school, and then I have to prepare for its activities. And I think I'm not being prepared enough for the national exam, and I think I must focus more in the second semester in order to do it well. Well, I think I'm not really pressured while preparing for anything, like for any contest, because if I were to put myself in pressure, I won't perform well.
Okay, so his tip is to not put too much pressure on oneself. You know, just take it as at a comfortable pace. Okay, and do we have any other questions?
So as a winner of Olympia, so you had to learn a lot of subjects in one time. Can you share to me how can you learn a lot of subjects in one time?
Well, I think my process to study for way to Olympia peak is a very long process. I started when I was in middle school. Yeah, I think we just need to know the basics first. You have to get a basics understanding of every subject. Like natural sciences are connected with each other, and social sciences are also connected, such as the knowledge you see in physics about the atomic mass. To calculate everything, you must use maths. And also there are many important chemical reactions inside our body, and that's related to biology. A piece of art or a literature masterpiece can relate it to a certain era in history, or it can be attached to certain geographical backgrounds in order to understand it best. So, like I said, every knowledge is connected to each other, and you just have to find that connection to get a better understanding of everything.
You know, to answer also your question, I think, you know, not everybody's goal is to remember everything. Some people's goal is to remember a lot of things because they're taking part in a competition that tests general knowledge. But apart from that, you know, depending on what your goals and objectives are, you know, to be really, really focused on what the priorities of that objective is. And it's really going to help you drown out the noise and be a lot more efficient in terms of your knowledge analysis and knowledge internalization. All right, well, thank you, everybody, for all of your questions, and thank you for your answers. We're going to continue on to this section that I really love and I really enjoy. It's called the IELTS Face-Off Challenge. And we're going to have a lot of fun just participating in a couple of really interesting tasks.
Oh.
Yeah. Are you ready?
Well, as ready as I'll ever be.
Okay, well, you guys, but before we go on to the IELTS Face-Off Challenge, I have a surprise for you. We're going to do a hug cam. So everybody, whoever the camera pans on, will need to hug the person right next to you. So hug cam, take it away. So now it's the IELTS Face-Off Challenge, and I think we're going to be guessing countries.
Oh.
So each one of us has a couple of seconds to guess all the Asian countries. You say one name, I say one name, until one of us cannot name any other country.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
Yep.
Well, I'll start with our beloved Vietnam.
Singapore.
Thailand.
Cambodia.
Laos.
Myanmar.
Philippines.
Japan.
Indonesia.
Korea.
Malaysia.
China.
Brunei.
Uzbekistan.
North Korea.
Oh, good one. Have we said Laos?
Yeah.
Have we said Thailand?
Yes.
Have we said Brunei?
Yes.
Have we said the Philippines?
Yes.
Okay, it's your turn.
India.
Oh yeah. How did I forget India? Okay, well, anyway, you win. Okay, let's go on to Africa. Let me start. Morocco.
Egypt.
Republic of Congo.
Libya.
South Africa.
Algeria.
Ethiopia.
Guinea.
Say what?
Guinea.
Guinea? What's that country I was supposed to go to? Did we say Algeria? Nigeria.
Sudan.
Okay, if you can name another country, then you win.
South Sudan.
All right, South Sudan. Well, you win. I'm not surprised. Thank you for being on the show, and thank you for sharing with us some of your experiences and inspiring our young youths to be able to achieve the same level of knowledge that you've been able to for many, many years. So we appreciate your presence, and good luck with everything. Good luck with the exam that's coming up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's been an honor to meet you and the audiences on IELTS Face-Off.
Wonderful, thank you. Hey guys, I know you're still wishing for more information. We do have a lot more information that's coming right up next for you guys. And our group is going to go all over Vietnam in the IELTS On The Go section. So stay tuned, because you'll get to discover another aspect of Vietnam that we all love.
Oh, hi studio. How is it like to be in the studio? I'm here under the sun, kind of sweat buckets, but it's an enlightenment experience for me. In the salt fields in Sa Huỳnh, which is 60 kilometers from the city of Quảng Ngãi. But I'm not being here alone, as usual, because I have a local. She is a really talented girl, Mỹ Toàn, and she will show me some ropes of how to make salt and everything in this place. Toàn ơi, come here.
Chị ơi, chị đang làm gì đấy chị?
Chị cũng không biết chị đang làm gì luôn đấy.
Oh, hello everyone. My name is Mỹ Toàn, Lê Thị Mỹ Toàn, and I'm 16 years old. So I'm very proud, I'm very glad to be here to discover Sa Huỳnh, which is one of the three biggest vast fields in Vietnam.
Have you ever been here?
Yeah, several times.
Several times?
Yes, and I have found out a lot about it.
Oh, really? Can you tell me some?
Yes, actually, Sa Huỳnh has acquired a reputation for one of the three biggest, salt producers in Vietnam.
Sa Huỳnh is the main salt supplier in the central region of Vietnam. Here, local people apply water evaporation technique in making salt. It means that they pump seawater into some plots of land and they wait for water evaporation or salt crystallization for a few days. Then they can harvest layers of salt in these plots of land. You can see that Sa Huỳnh salt is obtained directly through the evaporation of seawater, so it is often white and pure, and the grain of salt is of bigger size than the ordinary type of table salt we often use at home. And do you know that Sa Huỳnh is also a magnet for tourists yearning for exploring the pace of life of the manual workers here? Yeah, actually you can catch sight of those people suffering from the scorching sun during the day and working until late in the evening. Yes, I would say that hard working is also the pure beauty of the local people here in Sa Huỳnh.
Oh, I think we're good now. So how do you feel about this experience?
Yes, I would say that this is one of the most precious experience I've ever had in my life. And I think it is unforgettable, you know. And through the trip to Sa Huỳnh, I feel more, you know, appreciative of my hometown and all the people here. I would say that they are so hardworking, and but they are super optimistic and friendly to us. So I appreciate all their contribution to our salt industry in Vietnam. Yeah.
That's great. I mean, that's what we always aim at. In IELTS On The Go, we not only go to the tourist destinations, fancy and glamorous, but we also want to give you guys the best scenes of the stunning image of the nature of Vietnam, especially a glimpse into of how the local people live and work and contribute. And thank you so much, Tuan, for treating me to this beautiful place.
Yes, thank you, Khánh Vy. And if you want to visit Quảng Ngãi, we all welcome you to our city. Thank you so much, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Well, in today's episode, you know, we talked about conquering the peak of Olympia. Of course, that is a metaphor. It's a metaphor for all of the difficult things that we might have to encounter and conquer in our lives. And sometimes it's also the metaphor for conquering our biggest goal. And that goal may change depending on the year, depending on what stage we are in our own personal lives. There's one thing that I really like to kind of look at, right? And I like to look at, you know, all of the people that has managed to do great things in the world. Richard Branson with Virgin Airlines, you know, or Barack Obama, or, you know, for Vietnam, like Ho Chi Minh. These are the people that has really, really been able to just create something out of nothing and create something despite all the difficulties that they had to deal with. And so I think the moral of the story for me personally, you know, out of this episode is that there can be multiple ways for people to get to where they want to be, and there are going to be many, many obstacles. But one important thing is to remain calm and deal with each one of those one by one, and to be very, very focused. Some people can do it when they're 15, 16, and if you're not 15, 16, you can still continue to do it. I personally am learning to do it every day. And so I think there's really no age limit to hustle, you know, to concentration, as well as to calmness. And so we wish you all the best in your journey towards conquering your greatest goals and conquering your greatest peaks. We'll see you again next time. Ciao, ciao.